Mein Name ist Elisabeth Syre.
My name is Elisabeth Syre. I was born in Holland and I'm a Holocaust survivor. My mother was Jewish, my father Dutch, and he was part of the underground movement. He saved 22 children and was himself arrested and put on a death train to Dachau. He heard that and said to himself, I can either go to Dachau and die, or I can jump out of this train. So he jumped off the train. His colleague helped him climb out of the very small window. There were hardly any windows in those deadly trains, and then he laid under the train, heard the whistle. The train left, and he laid there until all the steps and everything was quiet. Finally, he ran to the downtown house, climbed onto our balcony.
Ist oben auf das Balkon geklettert und meine Mutter konnte nicht schlafen, die hat gebetet.
My mother couldn't sleep. She prayed in front of her bed and was crying. Then he knocked on the window. Open up, we have to go now. My mother let him in, packed all the important things in the pram, me on top of it. But I was always crying because I always had too little to eat.
Ich hatte immer zu wenig Essen. Meine Schwester war 23, Jenny.
My sister was 23, Jenny, and she was shot just before 1945. So it was a big trauma when my dad brought us to a small farm where he built a dungeon under the floor for my mother and for me to take refuge there, away from all shooting and negative things. We were under the floor for 4.5 years. No light, no fresh air, and there was nothing. We always had to live in the dark. I was only allowed to go outside at night, and that's why my eyes became very sensitive to light. My mother also had no formula for me, so that's why my bones on top of my head didn't grow together, and so I have a very big hole in my head that can be filled up with much more love, and that's good, isn't it? When the war was over on May 1945, then we were able to leave our little cave, and the friends of our family came together. My parents always had food, not much, but there was always soup and there was always bread and always pudding, and I was sitting under the table and listened to all the conversations, and somehow I felt much strength and a lot of trust emerge out of those conversations. And then I heard, I call you by your name, you are mine, Isaiah 43. I didn't know where I belonged, but then I knew I belonged to Him. When you give your life completely in His hands, things happen that are out of your reach. How can you forgive someone who murdered? How can you forgive someone who took away everything that actually belongs to you? Forgiveness came when I felt such a love from God that I was allowed to live where others died.
So eine Liebe spürte von Gott, dass ich leben durfte, wo andere gestorben sind. Und heute kann ich sagen,
and today I can say, I have one great dad in heaven. We need peace with God, so we just have to keep our eyes on Him. He is peace. I live in South Africa in Cape Town and founded a children's home there, with mostly children from broken homes, and what is broken can be healed. So I'm happy that every child that came gets an education and has clothes now. Not always everything new, but we're doing our best to also show in South Africa that we love all cultures. Sometimes I cry with them, sometimes I laugh with them, but the nicest thing to see is that they start doing something with their lives and their skills come out. I see God's love there. You probably never experienced an Holocaust, and maybe you have gone through a time where everything was against you and you could no longer cope with life. I understand that, but I really want to encourage you, believe in the Lord. come to him and give him your life so he can mend it like you repaired me.